Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. Just give me a second to introduce Fluxo for those who may not be familiar. Fluxo is a no-code BPM tool that lets you automate even the most complex processes through a very simple drag-and-drop interface. It's very focused on business users, so those business users can design, develop, and automate processes without IT support or IT knowledge, like in a very autonomous way. Just we are having a couple more attendees joining. Just give us a second before I can present one addition, because I can see that we are accepting more and more attendees. Well, one of our star speaker today is Ishant Chhabra. He's the Associate Director at PIM Capital. PIM was founded in 2014 and provides offshore fund solutions for wealth managers and financial advisors across Africa. And Ishant brings a lot of experience and a very unique perspective on the benefits of automation in this specific industry. I mean, he's been working with Fluxo for some months. I think that even for
more than a year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He will share it right now, but he will share in a very interesting success story about how PIM Capital implemented Fluxo, how they could transform all their processes and how they automated those processes. And then we have Juan Moreno, who is the founder and currently director of Fluxo. Juan is our in-house expert on process automation. He will guide us through a lot of knowledge on the power of this technology, of this discipline. He has a very extensive knowledge and experience, and we are very, very excited to learn from him. So the agenda for today is just to have a brief. We'll have an introduction from Juan about the discipline of business process management. Then we will move to the success story of PIM Capital together with Ishant. Then we'll share some specific factors for a successful BPM implementation. That's a crucial matter. And then we'll go with the key takeaways and the Q&A session. So Juan, all yours to start.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. As Manuel said, really excited to be here with an audience from across continents and several industries. So again, thank you for joining us. Let's start by diving into the basics of BPM and workflow, just to be on the same page, Well, business process management has evolved from the concept of workflow that emerged in the 90s. Originally, workflow focused on the automation of a sequence of tasks within a process. And BPM, however, represents a broader, more integrated approach. It not only involves automating tasks, but also the modeling, analysis, and continuous improvement of entire processes to align with organizational objectives. In simpler terms, while workflow automation is a crucial component of BPM, BPM itself is much more comprehensive. BPM suites include advanced tools for designing, monitoring, integrating, and optimizing process end-to-end, while workflow automation typically focuses on streamlining particular tasks or steps within a process. So while workflow automation was an essential step in process improvement, BPM takes it further by providing a complete framework, a complete suite, a software suite for managing and enhancing business processes, making it a vital part of modern business operations in companies all over the world. So, in fact, BPM is not a technology. It is a discipline that, in addition to technology, implies a methodology based on 4 stages. The first stage is to model the process, that is to achieve an abstraction of reality in a formal diagram. I know, everyone knows about flowcharts. We use it for several years. Well, flowcharts were great, but later, BPMN, Business Process Management Notation, emerged and became the international standard for process modeling. It is like the English of processes because it allows people to understand, discuss, and improve business processes. The second stage is to run that process model in a process engine, which will bring it to life. The user, or maybe a system, will start or create a new process instance, and the engine will move this instance through the different stage of the model. So the process engine will evaluate the conditions for choosing each path, send notifications via email, connect with other systems, look after the deadline for each task, etc., etc., etc. The third step is to measure how the process is running using key performance indicators, or KPIs. These KPIs can measure the performance of the process in real time, for example, to detect delays, overload, or execution problems. However, and very important, KPIs can also measure historical performance in a time window or in a time frame to detect structural problems like bottlenecks after several executions of the process. And with all this information, we reach the fourth stage in which we make decisions to introduce improvements and correct problems in the process. Obviously, being able to do this in an agile way is very, very important in order to be able to execute this cycle, this improvement cycle, many, many times, and thus continuously improve the process, what it is, at the end of the day, the spirit of the BPM discipline. So let's dive into some real-life examples, just to take all these theoretical concepts to the ground. For example, in human resources, which is one of the areas in which we have seen more success, BPM can automate and streamline processes like employee onboarding and performance review, for example. An HR department can automate the onboarding process, ensuring that all necessary paperwork, training, giving the new employee a notebook, meeting with his boss, okay, all these tasks are completed efficiently and in time, saving time, of course, but also reducing errors and providing a better experience for the new employee. So this is a great improvement of the onboarding process. Another example, in manufacturing, BPM can optimize product development. Imagine automating the approval process for new designs or modifications to existing designs. This not only speeds up the process, but also improves the accuracy of the process. But of course, life is complex, so these processes can also become complex. The image that you are seeing is just a part of a real process for designing new products in a manufacturing company. Dozens of tasks performed by different people, each one with deadlines, integration with other systems, email notifications, deadlines, and a lot of collaboration between people. So this is a process that used to be manual, error-prone, and unpredictable. And it was formalized and automated in a BPM suite, making it more efficient and effective. So don't think in BPM as very, very simple process. It could help with real big complex processes too. Well, looking back, as the BPM discipline gained momentum in the late 90s, mainly in early 2000, large BPM suites emerged from big software companies, targeting large customers with huge IT budget. I mean, a lot of money involved. These are what we call now traditional BPM suites, which are available to this day, and they are great tools, and they are appropriate in some particular situations that require all their enormous power and rich features. But they usually also require extensive IT involvement, technical expertise to set up and manage. So they usually are very complex and costly, which may not be ideal for all businesses or for all situations in which you need a little more speed in the automation or digital transformation journey. Said that, no-code BPM suites emerged a few years ago as a much more agile alternative. Floxu is a no-code BPM suite, so it fits in this category. And these kind of tools are designed to be user-friendly and accessible to non-technical users. They allow to build and customize processes with no coding or technical knowledge. And this not only reduces the need for specialized IT staff, but also accelerates deployment and increase flexibility. No-code tools empowers business users to create and manage processes independently of the always overloaded IT department, leading to faster and more agile operations. And, here I would like to tell you a true story, a real-life story. A huge bank in Latin America contacted us to evaluate Floxu a few years ago. And, one of our first questions was, okay, you are a really big bank. Do you already have a BPM suite? And they say, yes, we do. And it worked perfectly. So, it was a little bit shocking for us because, okay, but why are we talking? Why are we having this conversation? And they say, well, because we want to leave it with the process already automated, but we need a faster and more agile solution for everything we need to digitize from now. Okay, looking into the future, we need more speed. In fact, they bought Floxu, and to this day, both tools live happily side by side. They are good friends, proving that a traditional BPM suite can coexist for a long time with a traditional BPM suite. And it is not required, it's not mandatory to embark on an endless, risky, and complex migration project. And this leads me to another really relevant topic, that it is the rise of the citizen developer concept. That refers to business users who create or modify applications and automated processes using no-code or low-code platform without needing programming skills. So the growing popularity of this role is driven by the demand for faster solutions and increasing accessibility to no-code tools. This is exactly what the bank that I mentioned was thinking about. Citizen developers can quickly address specific business needs, streamline processes, and innovate within their departments. This trend is likely to continue on more organizations because they recognize the value of empowering their employees to take charge of their process improvement. In fact, I really recommend this article from Harvard Business Review, which establishes 3 pillars for any organization, even the most traditional ones, to innovate in their operations and therefore in their processes. These 3 pillars are to empower citizen developers, provide them with agile and intuitive tools, such as a no-code BPM suite, so they can build their own applications and solve the problems in their area, taking advantage of their knowledge, because they are the ones who know the limitations and the opportunities and their business needs. And once they succeed, extend those experiences to the whole company, spreading to more people to take the same path. And here again, I have another true story. Yes, I love telling stories, but this is a really nice one. Visiting a big real estate client in another country in Latin America, I asked the lead user how many processes she had automated. And she told me 70. 70? So I repeat the question. I don't mean process executions. I don't mean process instances. I mean different automated processes with different business goals. And with a smile in her face, she said 70. It turns out that she had empowered herself with a tool, automating all kinds of processes without our help and without us knowing, without us helping her, without us noticing the use that she has of the tool. So from vital ones like investing evaluations and purchasing houses and buildings to secondary support processes. In fact, she told me here, even coffee is ordered through a flux of processes. She's an amazing example of citizen development. Another relevant topic is flexibility and scalability, which are crucial attributes for BPM tools to help organizations compete and evolve. You know, flexibility allows you to adapt processes quickly to meet changing business requirements, while scalability ensures that your BPM solution can grow with your business. In fact, Darwin proposed that organisms adapt over time to better fit their environment, ensuring their survival and success. And this concept of adaptation is very, very similar to what we need from a BPM suite. A BPM suite must adapt to the evolving needs of a company, market dynamics, and government regulations. Flexibility allows to adjust process and workflows as business requirements shift. And believe me, they will shift. Okay? Change will happen. So we need this flexibility. And scalability ensures that as your company grows or faces new challenges, the BPM suite can handle increased complexity and volume without compromising performance. Summing up, by having a BPM suite that can adapt and scale, you ensure that your processes remain efficient and effective regardless of how your business environment changes. I mean, this adaptability is crucial for maintaining this competitive advantage that you achieve, and in this way, get the goal, the long-term success that you are looking for. This is a very, very sensitive
I have a very pertinent question here regarding the training of the user to be autonomous. How do you handle to make your users autonomous so you can really they can really don't depend on Floxu or the IT team?
Yes, great. Thank you for raising this relevant topic. We at Floxu have several instruments to help our users to become autonomous. We have a complete Floxu Academy, which this webinar is part of our Floxu Academy, which is free and it is full of content to become autonomous using the tool. For example, we have courses, we have training, we have videos. We also have a complete documentation in our knowledge base that it is free and it is online for everyone to learn, read, and try all the features. And besides that, we have a very, very responsive customer success team that it is key part of our offering, because our success team will help our users in their first steps using the tool, when they have a doubt, they can answer, and a real person, I mean, not a bot, a real person, a human being will answer those questions, and even they can set up a quick meeting to solve any issue that they may be experienced with the tool. So with all these instruments, we are confident that most of our users become independent and autonomous very quickly. I mean, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they can be automating processes. Okay? Well, and I was talking about the pricing, you know, what a sensitive topic to discuss. Well, you know, because probably you have been in this situation, it's awful not understanding a quote. It's awful not knowing how much something is going to cost. And it happens so frequently. So having a clear pricing model is vital for any no-code BPM solution. It helps to understand the total cost of ownership, or TCO, and make better decisions based on your budget and on the price, on the clear price of the tool. In fact, transparent pricing models also allow for an easier return of investment calculations, helping you to evaluate the financial benefit of the BPM investment. So when selecting a BPM tool, make sure that you have a clear understanding of all associated costs, including licensing, of course, but also implementation, maintenance, or any other cost, for example, computing or storage cost. This clarity will help you make better decisions and justify the investment to stakeholders. So before we move to Ishant's testimony, let's see a few additional considerations for implementing BPM. It is essential for your BPM to be able to connect with your existing systems, such as an ERP or a CRM platform. This ensures that data flows smoothly between different systems, maintaining consistency and enabling comprehensive process management. This will help eliminate data silos and ensure that all components of your business work together. And, you know, this is obviously, but sometimes we forget the relevance of the adoption of our users. For a BPM system to be effective, it must be user-friendly. Interfaces that are easy to navigate and use lead to a higher adoption among employees, and adequate training and support is vital to ensure that the system is used to its full potential. So finally, ensuring data protection is critical in every industry. You know, I know, everyone knows that. So your BPM system should have robust security features to protect your data, your processes, and of course, your users. Well, I will turn the spotlight to Ishant. Thank you very much again for joining us. And we will hear about his real-world experience in the financial sector using Fluxo.
Yeah, and this is great because I have a question here that was regarding the return on investment slide of what kind of specific outcomes or returns of investment have you seen, an example or story? So maybe now with Ishant's testimony, we can have like that story example, and then maybe at the end, Juan can provide another of his thousands of stories of his 25 years working in the BPM industry.
Yeah. Thank you, Johan and Manuel. First of all, thank you for giving me opportunity to join this session as a speaker. So hello, everyone. I'm Ishant, and I am serving as Associate Director in Business Processes at PIM Capital Fund Services, Mauritius. Overall, I have 10 years of experience in different industries. And during this 10 years of experience, last year I've come across through this BPM tool, Fluxo, and which played a vital role in our success. Can we move to next slide? Yeah. So let's start why we choose a BPM tool or reason to automate the processes. So some of the pain points and struggle points which I have listed on this presentation, I think every organization is struggling with that. First, productivity, inefficient working. They usually experience it in their organization. Poor customer experience, missing audit trails, poor quality, and PIM Capital was facing all of these because of outsource operation. And in FY23, we decided to have a transition phase and get all operation in-house from outsourced with some challenges. And the challenges were improve the quality of work, setting up workflow and controls, improvement in customer experience, smoothen the audit process, which allows us to choose a BPM tool. So our non-executive director, who is the chairman of Risk and Corporate Governance Committee in PIM Capital, and he is a client director in global listed bank who is using Floxu as BPM tool. He has recommended us with Floxu. That's how we came across Floxu, and we started working with them in FY23. Can we move to next slide, please? So PIM Capital has different functions. We do functioning in fund accounting, investor services, investment oversight and valuation, compliance and governance. So when we started our interaction with Floxu, our approach was to assign a dedicated team for Floxu, prioritizing the processes and operation areas, then implement internal processes first, then go ahead with the client-facing processes. After implementing Floxu, we saw few of the benefits which I mentioned on the slide itself. We have a standardized workflow. We have a system for reports and monitoring. We have audit trail. We have automatic communication, like through Floxu, we can share mails directly to clients, our third-party vendors, whosoever related party it is. Then we have a centralized database. We have interlinkage of processes on this platform itself, and we have a document controller too. Can we move to the next slide? Now, what's next for PIM Capital? Now, we are planning to make Floxu as a centralized tool. In PIM Capital, we have different functions and we are using different tools, compliance tool, accounting tool, CRM tools, and banking portals. Our next target is to integrate everything with Floxu and make it as a centralized tool. And also, PIM Capital is having global businesses in Guernsey, Mauritius, South Africa. So our plan, we have already implemented Floxu in many processes in Mauritius. We are currently in implementation stage with SA Business. And hopefully in 6 months, we'll be implementing Floxu in Guernsey Business. And within a year, we'll be implementing Floxu in Botswana Business. So that is what we are planning to do. Hope our story and our experience will be helpful for you guys to cope up with challenges and opportunities in your organization, in your field, or in your industry. Thank you.
Ishant, I have a question.
Sure.
That it's not from the public, it's from me. But what kind of roles are currently handling and using Floxu on PIM Capital? I mean, what is their background?
So you're talking about the controlling perspective or user perspective?
No, from the user perspective.
So user perspective, we have a function of fund accounting. So all fund accountants usually use Floxu, and for financing, we do have some payment processes, which is done on all the approvals, reviewer is done on Floxu. And hopefully next thing, we are going to integrate our banking portals with Floxu, where we can just go ahead and approve something on Floxu and payment get it done.
Great. I have a question here can you explain practically how Floxu helps sitting in the middle of your different tools? I think this is more for Juan. It's more generalistic. And maybe Ishant can have a real life example of how they do it in PIM.
So that what we are planning to do. So Floxu has a feature of API, REST API, where you can go there and you can have a text port and you can somehow integrate your tools with Floxu through webhooks and API, REST API, where any instances, example, if you have an accounting tool and you have something payment related thing or kind of figures of some payment, you can directly interlink accounting tool to Floxu, where someone can go onto Floxu, approve the payment, and it is done. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, amazing, Ishant. In fact, Floxu can connect with external systems using different instruments. Web services and APIs is one of them. It is very, very useful, especially when you need Floxu to be sit in the middle of other systems. So you have bidirectional communication with those systems. Receiving information, for example, to create or to start a new process instance. And then once the process instance has been moving through the process, you can send back the information to the other system, again, using a REST web service that it is very, very common and standard. Ishant, I would like to get deeper on the question that we received a few minutes ago and know your particular experience and how do you become so professional and how do you become autonomous using Floxu? How was your experience and how did you get the knowledge to be able to set up Floxu's processes autonomously?
So it is moreover playing around with the processes with Floxu. So so we had an approach like creating a process first, how we can deal that process in a manual workflow, creating a manual workflow, then doing the same thing on Floxu. So that's how we kind of got to know about the features, and obviously there's a 24/7 support who helps us to deal with that.
Thank you, Ishant. And that's exactly the point that we were mentioning in the previous slide. You know, the tool needs to be easy to be used by our users. This is the first thing to let them be autonomous. And then, of course, the support is relevant, the documentation is relevant. But at the end of the day, the tools need to be really, really easy. Well, really, thank you, Ishant, for sharing your amazing insights. It's a wonderful project, and it's really, really amazing what you are doing with Floxu at PIM Capital. So we are very, very happy and expect to work together for several more years in the future. You know.
Sure.
So let's see a few final concepts. You know, to make any software project a success, not only BPM, there are a few key points to keep in mind. Like you need to start with clear objectives to guide your goals and ensure executive support to help navigate the challenges, engage stakeholders early to align the solution with their needs and understand your existing processes for effective integration, assembling a skilled team and choose user-friendly tools for easier adoption, refine the system through continuous improvement and maintain clear communication through the project, provide training, support, use KPIs, etc. These are common good practice for software projects. But in addition, for successful BPM project, particular BPM project, there are a few of specific recommendations. And the first, maybe the most important, is have change management in mind to ensure user adoption. You know, automating a process changes the way we work. You know, it changes the way we work. So it is natural and to be expected that users will be afraid, because we are human beings and we are in front of a change, and especially a change of the way we work. And the way we work affects the way we survive, because we are paid for our work and we need this money. So we may be afraid when we are in front of a change. So we need to adapt the process, keep stakeholders informed, provide training, and provide support to really manage this change. The second is completely aligned with the previous question and with what Ishant was answering, and it is about integration. Integration capabilities are crucial. You need to make sure that your automated process can talk to your existing systems. Could be an ERP, a CRM, or any other system, because it will maintain data consistency and will reduce errors, and of course, it will make the process much more efficient, instead of having to type things twice. The third recommendation is to look for quick results, by targeting processes that can be rapidly improved. We'll talk more about this in a minute. When launching a BPM project, choosing the right first process is crucial. Opt for a process that really adds value, but it is not too complex. You need a first process that it is visible to stakeholders and that it is ready for automation. As we have seen before, empowering business users is also key. Leverage on no-code BPM tools to enable non-technical users to create and modify processes independently of the IT department. Provide comprehensive training, foster collaboration among cross-functional teams, and drive process improvement. And obviously, and as you expand, make sure that your BPM tool can scale to handle more processes, more users, and more process instances. Automate incrementally, but never stop. First process work, okay, let's move to the second. Second work, okay, let's move to the third. So you will be standardizing your operations with automated and formal process, and it will let you focus on continuous improvement to enhance your organization as a whole. So finally, I don't know how to say it so strongly, we really recommend to start with a proof of concept, or POC. It will address your specific needs, demonstrating whether or not they can be solved, because it could happen. Maybe you don't need a BPM suite. So the best way to make sure that the BPM suite is the right solution for you is creating a proof of concept. It will also allow your real users to experience the benefits firsthand and build confidence in the solution. It will show the impact of the automation before committing to a full-scale deployment and a full investment. So in fact, we really encourage to do proof of concept. And said that, our offering includes a customized POC using Fluxo, along with our expert guidance to ensure a seamless adoption. And this approach lets you see the power of BPM, but with minimal risk, and make a confident decision about transforming your business processes. Okay? So with this final recommendation, it's time for Manuel to continue.
Okay, I will just wrap up with some conclusions. First, thank you all for staying with us along this masterclass. And thank you, mainly Ishant, for sharing your insights with us. It's like been very, very, very insightful and helpful for everybody. And I have a lot of questions here in the chat that I'm going to share with you. But let's say like the main outcomes that we have from this masterclass are first, that it's clear that adopting BPM and workflow automation is totally crucial. It's very important to understand what BPM means, not only as a technology, but also as a discipline, as something much bigger than just a particular technology. It's very important to start with small projects and then gradually like scale up using no-code tools. And this approach will really help you drive efficiency and agility in your organizations and your companies. Next, it's very important to leverage no-code BPM suites as a truly game changer. Like these platforms really allow a rapid implementation, a very fast deployment. So also, I mean, they provide the possibility of doing the proof of concepts that Juan mentioned. That kind of proof of concept like will be like very difficult to use in a, let's say, the legacy BPM, because in that kind of tools, I mean, each year you have to go all in. I mean, you go or you don't go, but it's very difficult to try in a very lean way, in a very experimental way. And it's very, there are also two factors that are very important. The first is to have like very clear objectives to secure executive support. That's very important. A very important thing that Juan mentioned and that we see every day in our daily operations, that executive support and the confidence that the team that is implementing gets from the executive team, like it's one of the most important things in the process. And also that change management is also a priority. I mean, we really daily in Fluxus sell and provide BPM solutions, but we also need to, let's say, we need to provide security because there are always a couple of persons that are the ones that are leading these kind of implementations and processes that will get a lot of credit and a lot of prestige inside the company if things go well. So we really need to help them feel secure and feel like surrounded with all our resources, all our support, so they can really implement successfully a tool like Fluxus or any other no-code BPM. And the last thing is that starting with a customized POC. This is an approach that we've been implementing in Fluxus in the last years. It's very useful. It really helps clients to start small and to then go bigger. I often discuss this with different colleagues, mainly sales colleagues, and that are in sales and commercial department. And some of them see like proof of concept as a way of like slowing down the sales process. From our perspective, is totally the opposite. I mean, it's a way of starting like with a very strong base with a very consolidated implementation, a very small but consolidated implementation, and then grow as the project move forward. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending and for staying, because nearly the same number of assistants start the masterclass and now are ending the masterclass. So we are very happy for that. That's one of our main KPIs for this kind of instances. So thank you very much, all of you, for attending, and special thanks to Ishant for sharing his experience. I mean, we always know that it's not easy for it at many different levels, sharing like the internal experience of a company. And what Ishant shared was like very valuable, a lot of insights that otherwise would be impossible to have. So thank you very much. It was very interesting, everything that you shared with us. And we are available through LinkedIn, in our chat, in Fluxus, and you can also continue diving in our Fluxus Academy, where you have a lot of different training resources, our knowledge base, and you can, if you want, sign up for a free account on Fluxus, and you can just try the tool, and we are going to be happy to help you with anything that you may need. Thank you very much again, and we hope to see you again on our next masterclass.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.